by the ANC.
In 1999, UNESCO declared the island a World Heritage Site, a sign of spirit and victory of democracy over oppression. In recent years, the Robben Island Museum has been in a state of decay, with disgruntled employees embarking on protest action last year. During this year's local government election campaign, the EFF visited the island in an effort to gain support.
The red wave of the EFF has entered into Robben Island. Now we have the majority of votes from the residents of Robben Island. This is very, very important. It must be celebrated. It must be celebrated because of its significance. Not just because we got support from the residents of Robben Island, but because of its symbolic significance.
Robben Island is synonymous with ANC as some of its prominent struggle stalwarts, such as Nelson Mandela, Tokyo Sexwale, Jacob Zuma, Walter Sisulu, Ahmed Kathrada, and Govan Mbeki, who were jailed for their political activities. The ANC came second to the EFF with 31.67% of the votes cast. The party says this could be an expression of dissatisfaction from some of their members at the island.
Let's see this in the context of what is happening in the organization. The disillusionment of our own members themselves about many things, not only within the ANC itself, but at the same time, how their grievances and their problems are attended to by government structures themselves. I think the Robben Island one is more around that.
A political analyst says the results should serve as a warning to the ANC to stop relying on past achievements. Robben Island is part of the city of Cape Town's Ward 54, which was retained by the DA. Cape Town residents welcome the results from the island.
ANC is a ruling party, and we all know the struggle behind the ANC and the Robben Island. But it is a good thing that EFF finally took Robben Island into EAF. As I said before, change is important for everyone in South Africa.
What I was saying is people are afraid of change because they know ANC has been ruling since long time. So now I think if we can teach people or let people know, they see everything that is happening around them. So I think they must change their minds and change for the other party.
The World Heritage Site has 144 registered voters, and it is home to Robben Island Museum staff, which includes former prisoners, prison wardens, as well as service providers. Thule Joga, SABC News, Robben Island, Cape Town.
To discuss the significance of this milestone for the party, we're now joined by the EFF's head of elections in the Western Cape, Godrich Gardee. He joins us now via Zoom. Mr. Gardee, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Good evening, Spew, and good evening to our viewers, and thank you to the people of South Africa for voting and for voting EFF in particular, and specifically in the Robben Island.
It is indeed, a huge milestone for the party, and I suppose that it substantiates the party's growth, steady growth in the past few years. So what would you attribute this election victory to, especially in the Western Cape and in particular in the Robben Island area?
There is nothing different that we did in the Robben Island that we did not do in any other part of South Africa, in Soweto, in Mzimvubu, in Mzimkhulu, and in Bombela. We went to Robben Island to meet the voters and the residents of Robben Island. We went to their houses, we spoke to them, we persuaded them to vote the EFF, we listened to their demands, we listened to their grievances, we listened to their conditions of life, and we listened to what they think and suggest should be the solution to their lives. And we promised them that should we be voted into office, we shall definitely commit to changing their lives. And notwithstanding that, we did not get much of the majority votes that we needed in the municipality, in the province, and in the national government, we will take up their matters to the parliament and take their issues forward and make sure that they get a feedback and their lives are better for the better.
You know, Godrich, going into the elections, a huge chunk of the electorate was, incredibly undecided as to which party to vote for. Would you say that the election took advantage of this, supposed indecisiveness of the electorate, or they simply bought into the EFF's manifesto and vision of the party?
The people of Robben Island are inspired by the ideology and the policy position of the EFF. They have been inspired by what we say we will do when we come to office. They are inspired about what we do now that we are not even in office and governing, what we did in the University of Pretoria, in Wits University, in the municipality of Nelson Mandela Bay, in the Johannesburg municipality, in sourcing all the workers there, the security and the general laborers. So it's the same thing with the museum and the Robben Island. The workers are complaining about retrenchment. They are complaining about a 50% salary cut. They are complaining about a strategy to get rid of the residents. They are complaining about ex-combatants and ex-inmates who have been flushed out of the Robben Island. They are complaining about monies being misappropriated by the council and its senior executive. And in fact, they are calling on the EFF to raise this matter in Parliament in a special motion and to send a parliamentary team to come and investigate the issues surrounding the Robben Island, because quite a lot of money has disappeared, the surpluses that have been declared from year to year, and their living conditions. They don't have a family life. They don't have any dignity. Their children have been sent away from Robben Island. They don't have a school for their young children. There's no early childhood development center. There's no primary school. There's no boat for the workers and the families. They are just migrant laborers in their own land, our land, the Robben Island.
Upon the launch of the party's manifesto a couple of months ago, party leader Julius Malema, pledged that to curb growing costs, EFF municipalities would abolish the tender system and, of course, in-source workers, including engineers, general workers and artisans. So how does the party envisage this will be implemented to the benefit of the residents of Robben Island?
Quite a number of our voters in Robben Island are outsourced contract workers, except for the employees of public works. The rest are actually outsourced. The shop, the retail workers, the maintenance employees, and the tour guides, and the majority of the employees and the residents of Robben Island are actually outsourced employees of Robben Island. The Heritage Council has got much to do with outsourcing of our people. It's more likely that the senior management and the council members are actually having proxies to the companies that are benefiting from the tendering system that is seen in the Robben Island.
Well, the EFF, I suppose then that shies away from the rural folk, which is largely termed as the bulwark of the ANC. So in terms of infiltrating and penetrating the rural folk, to get a sense that they will be able to buy into the vision and the policies of the EFF.
That's not true at all, SP. Where you will recall that we are the only party with the national footprint after the ruling party and the racist party of the Western Cape of John Steensen. We are the only party that has got a national footprint. When we say we want to unseat the ruling party from governance, we mean what we really say, because we fight it in Guyana, we fight it in Bombela, we fight it in Mzimkulu, We fight it in Kofi-Mvaba. We fight it everywhere, including Robben Island, where we have actually removed it from the influence and taken over the legacy of the World Heritage Site and the National Museum, the pride and the home of the liberation struggle legacy in South Africa. We are the only party actually after the DA that actually mean business in removing the party from power. We have got votes from Giyani, we have got votes from Musina, we have got votes from the extreme end of the country. And it can be true that we are not actually infiltrating the bulwark of the strongholds of the ruling party. You'll know how many municipalities have been hung in the rural provinces of Mpumalanga, of Limpopo, of KwaZulu-Natal, of the Northern Cape, and the Free State, the Northwest, everywhere throughout the country. We've got almost 69 municipalities that are hung, and most of them, the EFF is a factor. And no council can be constituted without the economic freedom fighters.
You know, Godrich, some South Africans see the economic freedom fighters as providing the left-wing alternative that the country's poor need. I mean, just going through some of the images and the video clips of some of the EFF's rallies and the election manifestos, it was largely the younger population, it was largely the youth. But in terms of not having garnered an outright majority, because as per expectation, that since the party is very much in touch with the interests and the needs of the marginalized, of the younger people, but one then wonders, why didn't the party, able to claim an outright majority in some of the municipalities?
Spiwe, you will agree with me that all liberation movements had to wait for almost in excess of a century to achieve political freedom in their own countries. The very same ruling party that we have in South Africa, which you have just brought below 47% now, actually had to wait for almost 95 or 98 years before it could assume political power. We are just a new kid in the block, almost just 9 or 8 years in existence, and we've made strides that even organizations that have existed for over 50 years have not actually made those inroads that we have made. And we are very patient with our people. We are very patient with the voters. They need the liberation of their minds, and we will continue to conscientize them. We will be going back to their houses, door to door, street to street, and educate them on the need actually of a change of mindset. We need to win their hearts and minds. They need to see us actually doing what we say we will do long before we even assume any office in any level of government. And we are very optimistic about that, and in the most nearest future than all other parties have actually gone. I mean, the opposition leader of Zimbabwe had to attempt more than six contests of presidential election for every 5 years. That is almost 30 years of attempt to assume political office, and his opposition party just recently won the elections in Zambia. So compare 30 years to 10 years of the existence of the EFF, compare it to the 100 years of the solid party that we are actually disintegrating of late, the ruling party and the racist party of Helen Zille, which has existed in different forms and character over 50 years. We are doing very, very well, and we look forward to better performance in 2024.
Yeah, and in terms of better performance, I mean, no doubt the Robben Island has been the fortress of the African National Congress. I mean, some of the leaders of the liberation movement have been incarcerated there, and it sort of forms an identity of the African National Congress. So what does it mean for the ANC going forward, and how does the EFF seek to use such victory to advance the needs and the interests of the people?
We have demonstrated to the rest of South Africa, Africa, and the world that there is nothing called a no-go area in South Africa. There's nothing called a stronghold of the ruling party in South Africa, which lives on the credentials of the past. And I mean, their struggle credentials, on the credentials of their mothers and fathers. And we have actually removed that myth around them that they are untouchable and there's nothing that can happen to them. And we have proven them wrong that we will actually remove them from office like we've done in 2016, like we've now done in 2021, as we have done in 2019 when we brought them below the threshold of the 60% and 50%. And now they are swimming in the threshold of 46%, and very soon they will be at 28 or 35%.
Let's talk about coalitions. I know that so many parties have started the processes of negotiations and horse trading in terms of forming coalitions in some of the hung municipalities. And we've heard Herman Mashaba, the leader of the Action SA, saying that they are open to negotiations with any party but the ANC, and that party includes the economic freedom fighters. We know that the EFF and the Action SA, they differ vastly in terms of policy and ideology, in particular when it comes to the issue of foreign nationals and legal and illegal migrants here in South Africa. So should that merger or should that coalition does indeed take place, does it confirm the fact that both parties do not actually take into consideration the fact that policy or principle should be trumping the allocation of seats?
Spiwe, you will recall that the Economic Freedom Fighters has issued a statement and outlined its principles and made mention of the team that will be involved in the coalition talks led by the Deputy President, Commissar Floyd Chibambo, assisted by the former National Chairperson, Commissar Advocate Dalimpofu, the former DSG, the current Secretary General, the Deputy Secretary General, and many others. And we should give them time and space to deal with that complex and abstract nature of negotiations with all other political parties. Our President and Commander-in-Chief in the Telatupa closing rally of the campaign has said we need to call on all political parties, including the EFF, to put their egos aside, because the issue of service delivery, the issue of flushing toilets, the issue of land, the issue of dignity of our people, the issue of dealing with sewage spillage and blocked drainage and decent housing of our people is a human right matter. It's not a political ball. And that is the approach, the spirit, and the approach and the spirit of the EFF in this complex and very delicate coalition negotiations. Of course, we have put in our basis of negotiations, and we should be able to put our trust and have confidence in the team that is currently engaged with the negotiations as we speak.
Godrich Gardee, lovely chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Spiwe, and to your viewers.
Indeed, thank you. Well, that was Godrich Gardee. He's the EFF's head of elections in the Western Cape. He's joining us via Zoom and just sharing with us his reflections on the party's election victory, especially in the Robben Island area. This is The Globe on SABC News.